The next thing I want to talk about in this series of tools and suggestions and biblical wisdom on how to disciple teenagers is the church. I want you to love the church. If you want to be a successful discipler of students, you have to realize personal evangelism is massive, right? It's very important. Christ commands us to make disciples. But the majority of that work, the real disciple-making factory, is done in churches, right? That's what Jesus said to Peter when he restored him. Yes, I love you, Lord. Then feed my sheep. Disciple my people. And that happens primarily in the context of the local church. So you have to do kind of whatever you got to do to get those that you disciple into the building to hear the word, to sing the word, to pray the word with God's people. This is a huge part of discipleship. You'll have some success. And I understand if you're watching this, you're thinking, oh, frontier missionaries, they don't have a church, all this stuff. I hear that pushback, but I want to tell you this. Frontier missionaries go into the frontier to plant a church. That's one of their goals. They're not just doing Lone Ranger Christianity. Their goal is for the people they're evangelizing to eventually plant their own church to make disciples in their language, in their culture. That's the point of frontier missions. So don't use that as an excuse to, oh, well, I can do this at home or we can do church like this. No, you need the local church. I need the local church. So you have to get those teenagers that you're discipling there. And you have to make sure it's a place where they really are discipled, where the word really is preached and taught, where there are youth leaders that actually care. And it's not just an entertainment house, but it's a place of God's word, of teaching. Now, can it be fun? It should be fun, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be fun, right? But it shouldn't just be centered around entertainment. It should be centered around God's word and discipleship and good doctrine. So I want you to get them there. And I want you, as you grow in becoming a better discipler of students, that the teenagers in your life see that you love the church, that they see that you prioritize the church, that you give to the church, that you serve her, right? We really can't be good, faithful Christians and say we love Jesus and not love his bride. I can't figure this out or rationalize this. It's become a thing in American evangelicalism, and I don't understand why it's a thing. Because it's not a thing in the New Testament, and it was not a thing in 1,800 years of church history. You got to love the bride if you love the bridegroom. Now, the bride can be a mess, right? You and I can be a mess, and church is difficult, but it's a mess worth making. Those relationships matter. This is how God shapes us and forms us. And you don't need me to tell you that other than you, the lead discipler, the lead person in this teenager's life, the other thing that matters probably equal is their peer group, their friends, the people they spend time around. And if those aren't kids that are also being discipled in a meaningful way by a local church, I can guarantee you what's going to happen. And maybe you're watching this and you've already seen this happen in the life of your teen. You've read the book, right? You've gone through the devotional. You know that your kid was brought up in the church but then pulled out by a story that they desired more than the good story, the true story of the gospel. So your kids, your teenagers need godly teens in their life. They need godly youth leaders. They also need other adults, other people that you trust to help you disciple them. There's no other context for which all of these things are going to happen other than the local church. It's not God's plan B for the world, it's God's plan A for the world, always has been. And so I want you and invite you to be a part of it, and invite your teen that you're discipling to be a part of it. And I promise you, you'll see God work in the local church.